I had the longest way around. I had to go around the whole other way. Whereas the chartered flight, they flew straight to Korea from LA and then Korea to Beijing. So their travel day was probably half as long as
Mm.
mine. And so I landed, I was tired. I was talking to my coach and everything and everyone at the village already, and they were like, "All right, well, you have to race in 12 hours. You landed here at 6:30 a.m. Like you got a race to get to at 6:30 p.m."
Oh
And
my God.
I was like, "Okay, well, let me get my luggage and everything." And I saw all the bags coming out, like bag after bag, and other countries getting their bags, and the only bags that weren't coming out were mine. And I was just forced to leave. Like it was just a process. Like you have to get out of the airport or else they're just kicking you out, like you can't stay there for as long as you can because the
Right.
bus will leave without you. So I had to leave without my bags. I was just like, man, this is like a cherry on top to everything that I just had to go through. Like I don't have my bags or anything. And
Right. And this is also one of those things. It's never fun to lose your luggage. Like, oh,
yeah,
what was in there? My pants, oh, that really good
yeah.
shirt that I like. But for you realize, well, my skates are in there. Like this is what I need. Like, what am I gonna do now? So did that set in panic for you?
Yeah, so I mean, I wish we could bring our skates onto the airplane. Like, it's a lot safer. Like in the US, domestically, we can do that, but internationally, there's a lot of different rules. And
Yeah.
um, I wish we were able to bring them on, but we have to disassemble them and put the blades into the check luggage, and then we can carry our boots on to the flight. Um, and definitely panic started to set in because uh, skates are very, very individualized, like the blade has a certain bend and a certain rock to it, and each person's bend and rock are different. And the length of the blade and the distance on the bridge is different too. And I was the only one on my team that had the same the I only had one size that fit me and no one else I could borrow from essentially. So I was like kind of panicking because I was like, no one else, I can't use anyone else's blades unless I'm using their boots too, which the boots are custom fit to our feet and
Right.
fit into them. So, I was like, okay, I mean, maybe I'll arrive before my race because, there's not a lot of flights going from Paris to Beijing, and maybe they just lost on the plane or something. And
Right.
it ended up not being the case. I was just waiting and waiting, and I never got the call like, "Oh, your bags are here." And so the story goes like my coach, he ended up calling up this guy from Latvia. He's the only guy that had the same size bridge as me, and he let me just take a pair of his blades and
Wow.
um, just basically mount them to my boots because I only had my boots and my skin suit, but not my blade. So I didn't even have clothes. Like I had to wear the same clothes I wore the last 24 hours on the flight going to the rink.
Oh my
And,
gosh.
I was probably smelled terrible and shower badly.
Yeah.
So it was definitely a unique thing that happened on top of all this COVID stuff for
Yeah.
sure.
So you
Yeah.
put the blades in, and now do you have how much time do you have to even like practice on them or get a feel for what these different blades feel like on your feet? And was it completely different?
Yeah. So I mean, so the thing about skating is that you have like maybe 30 minutes to, step on the ice and test them out and whatever. Just dial in your skating and stuff. And that was my first time stepping on the rink, and everyone else has been there for a week now, and I've
Yeah.
only been there for 12 hours, maybe less, 10 hours at that point. And I step on the rink, and I think mentally it was harder because you think of a custom thing, you like imagine running a marathon and forgetting your shoes and having to put on someone else's shoes to run in. I think it's the same thing, but even more so because the blades are so unique to each person. And so I think mentally I was like, these feel so different. And I think they actually felt a little bit different because they weren't mine. And, for me, I don't put as much power into the ice because I'm a little bit more of a long distance guy. So they're maybe a little bit flatter. But the guy that I borrowed from, he's a little bit more of a sprinter. So he like has a little bit more bend, I think, to hold that strength that he has. So it was definitely different for sure. And I think I might have overthought it a little bit, like, oh, these aren't my blades. But I was also at the point I was just like pure adrenaline, just getting ready for the race. Like I could have definitely just fallen asleep during the day, but I think the blood was just rushing through me and my heart was pumping and I was just getting ready to race. And um it was it's definitely something I've never felt before for sure. Like,
Yeah, I mean, the fact that of all of this chaos, of all of this exhaustion and upheaval, you suddenly find yourself on Olympic ice for the first time wearing another person's blades. So, yeah, the comfort level, the confidence, and probably certainty. Of course, you're certain about your own ability, but so much of that comes into, as we hear all the time, it's the preparation, it's being ready, it's the constant that you've created in your training and your in getting ready for that, and all of a sudden to not have the very custom things that you're used to. Again, what a amazing story that you had to overcome all of this to put yourself in a position to win, not only for you, but you've got teammates that are now depending on you. So you're in the race. Tell us about this race and what ended up happening.